They told you wealth was out there, somewhere hiding in vaults, waiting in bank accounts, resting in the palms of the already powerful, but they lied. Wealth does not live in numbers, it lives in minds. It doesn't begin with currency, it begins with consciousness. The real vault is your vision, the true fortune is your belief, and the first transaction you must make is with yourself. Let me tell you something raw. Something real wealth is not a gift granted by chance. It is not inherited by accident, nor is it stumbled upon in the night like a lucky coin. Wealth is a decision, it is a command, it is a deliberate act of creation that begins the moment you decide you will not be ordinary. Every titan you've ever admired, every icon whose name echoes across centuries, Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller, Disney, they all began with nothing more than a thought. But not just any thought, a thought forged in fire. A thought that screamed louder than doubt, a thought they fed every day until it consumed every excuse, every limitation, every whisper of defeat. Andrew Carnegie was a poor Scottish immigrant. He didn't speak wealth, he thought it. He became it. And before he ever held millions in his hand, he held billions in his mind. And that's where you must start. Not with your bank account, not with your connections, but with your thoughts. Because your thoughts are blueprints, they are seeds, and when they are backed by belief and burned into your subconscious with repetition, they bend reality, they rewrite your circumstances, they make the invisible inevitable. You must think wealth before you touch it. You must see yourself with it, feel it, smell it, breathe it, until it is more real in your mind than the doubts trying to stop you. You cannot attract what you do not believe you deserve. You cannot become what you do not picture. You cannot build what you do not visualize. So stop worshiping money and start commanding it with clarity, with certainty, with the mental posture of someone who knows they are not here to hope, they are here to have. Clarity is the foundation of all fortune. If you cannot define it, you cannot demand it. If your vision is vague, your results will be diluted. But when your vision is clear, when it slices through distraction like a blade, the world moves. People show up, resources shift, time bends, and what once seemed impossible begins unfolding like a prophecy you wrote yourself. Thomas Edison was not simply a man with ideas. He was a man who refused to see anything but the outcome he desired. He didn't wish the light bulb into existence. He commanded it into reality through 10 zeros. Zero trials. That's what thinking wealth looks like. That's what acting wealth means. Because thinking is only the beginning. Belief is only the ignition. Now comes the embodiment. You cannot think wealth and live like a beggar. You cannot dream of millions and speak like a victim. You must walk as if the ground belongs to you. You must talk as if money already listens to your voice. You must show up with the posture of a general, not the hesitation of a doubter. You want the life of the elite, then stop living like the defeated. What you tolerate, you invite. What you accept, you absorb. You must raise your standard so high that mediocrity suffocates in your presence. Act wealth, dress like it, speak like it, move like it. Operate with precision, discipline, and intent. Not because you're faking it, but because you're becoming it. Every action becomes a vote for who you are becoming. Every decision a declaration of what you expect from life. Think like a winner and your actions will follow. Act like a leader and people will respond. Speak like a creator and life will bend. There is no room for maybe here. You are either building your legacy or burying it under excuses. And in the silence of your work, when no one is watching, that's when the real wealth is built, because discipline is the currency of kings. It is the unseen force behind every skyscraper, every empire, every name that time refuses to forget. Walt Disney was rejected by over 300 banks, told his idea for Disney and was absurd, but he kept showing up, kept drawing, kept pitching, because the dream in his head was more real than the denial in his face. That's the act of wealth, to move even when it looks like nothing is moving, to act even when results haven't yet appeared. That's the behavior of visionaries. They don't wait for proof, they become the proof. You want to live wealth, then it's not about just having money. It's about mastering energy, managing time, respecting your word, keeping promises, especially the ones you whisper to yourself when the world is asleep. Living wealth is not just about net worth. It's about soul worth. It's about the way you carry yourself when no one is clapping, the way you lead when no one is following, the way you show up not because the stage is ready, but because you are. Live wealth by leading with purpose. Live wealth by investing in growth. Live wealth by surrounding yourself with architects, not arsonists, people who build with you, not burn what you create. And above all, live wealth by mastering your mind, because the mind is the only real estate you truly own. Guard it like a fortress, feed it like a champion, discipline it like a soldier, and direct it like a commander. Every thought is a tool. Every belief is a building block. Every habit is a hammer or a wrecking ball. Choose wisely. The man who thinks wealth attracts it. The man who acts wealth becomes it. But the man who lives wealth, he becomes unstoppable, not because of what he owns, but because of who he has become. Let the world chase quick wins. You chase legacy. Let others seek comfort. You seek clarity. Let the many react. You respond. Let the noise distract. You stay rooted, because wealth is not a destination. It is a mode of operation, a way of being, a frequency, a vibration, a decision you make daily to rise, to refine, to rule over your mind and not let circumstances decide your worth. You do not need permission to begin. You need conviction. You do not need applause. You need alignment. You do not need luck. You need leverage, the kind that comes from discipline, focus, and faith forged in fire. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." And if that's true, then the richest place on earth is not Wall Street. It's your thoughts. So think wealth, act wealth, live wealth, not tomorrow, not when the conditions are perfect, now, because the world bows to the man who believes and moves. You must train your mind like an elite warrior prepares for battle with precision, repetition, and an obsession for mastery. Wealth is not won in the loud moments. It is sculpted in silence. It is born in the furnace of your discipline and hammered by the blows of your decisions. Do not chase ease. Chase excellence. Do not reach for comfort. Reach for clarity. The masses settle for what is familiar, the great sacrifice for what is inevitable. They don't hope wealth finds them, they summon it. They shape it. They bend the universe to their will because they are not casual about their desires, they are convicted. And when life pushes, they don't flinch, they push back harder, because wealth isn't something you try. It's something you embody, and to embody it, you must bleed for it, not in pain, but in persistence, in relentless execution, in doing what needs to be done even when the emotions are gone, even when the applause is silent, even when the finish line is nowhere in sight. You see, true wealth is not just in money, it's in who you must become to create money. It's in the level of clarity you command. It's in your habits, your rituals, your vision, your internal narrative. The man who builds wealth is first the man who conquers himself. This is the lesson of Napoleon Hill, dressed in today's armor, that thoughts backed by faith become reality, that desire backed by discipline becomes destiny. That the mind, once made definite, becomes the most powerful weapon known to man. The world doesn't give wealth to the most talented, it gives it to the most decided. Talent is common, decision is rare. Ideas are everywhere. Execution is what separates legends from the forgotten. So you must decide, are you willing to live aligned with your vision even when the results aren't there yet? Can you persist when it's hard? Can you stay committed when no one believes in you? Can you build the invisible empire brick by brick while the world doubts and delays? Because the truth is, the moment you move in faith, wealth starts to move toward you. Not always in the way you expect, not always on your timeline, but always in response to your vibration. Wealth responds to certainty. It responds to clarity. It responds to energy that refuses to beg energy that expects. Every day you must step into the version of yourself who already has it. Not because you're pretending, but because that's how you summon the real. Think like the man with the mansion. Walk like the man with the empire. Speak like the king building his kingdom, and when adversity hits, because it will do not collapse, do not question the path. Remember, adversity is not the enemy, it is the audition, the furnace that forges you. The test that proves your alignment. Abraham Lincoln failed in business, lost elections, battled depression, yet rose to become one of history's most iconic leaders. Not because life made it easy, but because he refused to surrender the vision. So, what about you? When life throws the storm, will you shrink or will you anchor? When the critics mock, will you doubt or double down? When the bank account is low, will your belief waver or will your faith explode? You think the wealthy never had fear. They had it. But they refused to be ruled by it. They moved anyway. They acted in faith. They played offense while others played it safe. And that's the difference. The wealthy don't wait for the perfect moment. They create the perfect storm, because you cannot attract abundance while thinking in lack. You cannot manifest success while clinging to doubt. You cannot live like a king while moving like a pawn. So upbraid your thoughts. Aud it your circle, master your mornings, speak with precision, act with power, expect results, and when setbacks come, smile. They are proof you are in motion. Proof that you are not playing dead. Proof that you are a builder, not a bystander. This life, this world, is not reserved for the chosen few. It is built for the bold, for those who dare to dream and discipline themselves to make that dream real, for those who see money not as paper, but as permission. Not as a goal, but as a byproduct of aligned action. Wealth begins in the moment you stop treating your thoughts like suggestions and start treating them like commands. When you stop waiting for motivation and start installing rituals. When you no longer rely on willpower, but build an identity so strong, so clear, that nothing pulls you off course. And when your habits align with your highest vision, you become unshakable. You become magnetic. You become the kind of person money chases, not the kind who chases money. So think wealth, act wealth, live wealth, speak the language of progress, move with the rhythm of belief, walk with the weight of your vision like a crown that cannot be removed. Because wealth is not something you wish for, it's something you become. You become it not by shouting affirmations into the void, but by stepping forward when no one else will. By keeping promises to yourself when it's not convenient. By waking up early not because the world expects it, but because your future demands it. That is the frequency of wealth. You think Carnegie waited for approval. You think Disney waited for certainty. You think Ford checked with the masses before building his empire. No, they moved first. They believed first. They lived in a future the world had not seen yet, and then they brought it to life. That is what you must do. Hold the vision, build it in your mind, shape it so clearly that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstance. Let it burn in your mind until doubt has no room to breathe, and then act. From the vision, not the fear, not the past, not the opinions of those who settled. There is no success story that doesn't first begin with a private war, a war between the old self and the one you're becoming. That war is not a curse. It's your initiation. The pressure is not punishment. It's preparation. Diamonds are not born in ease. They are born under pressure. So when life turns up the heat, thank it. You're being refined, because wealth is not just earned. It's allowed through belief, allowed through alignment, allowed through action that reflects identity. You do not get what you want. You get who you are. So upgrade your identity. Stop talking like you're broke. Stop acting like time is cheap. Stop letting distractions steal your empire. Every scroll, every excuse, every delay is a withdrawal from your future. Guard your focus like it's gold, because it is. Focus builds empires. Distraction bankrupts destinies. Discipline is the language of legacy. You must become obsessed with the details of your greatness. Your sleep, your routines, your inputs, your circle, your environment, they must all be tuned to the vibration of the life you are building. If it does not align, it must be removed, because wealth is not a side project. It is not a hobby. It is not what you dabble in between distractions. It is a calling, a mission, a way of being, and when you treat it with reverence, it responds with results. But understand this, it is you who must go first. Not the money, not the clients, not the investors, you. The market responds to clarity, to energy, to leadership. The world mirrors your posture. So don't just stand up physically, rise up mentally. Step into the identity of the one who no longer negotiates with fear, the one who no longer flirts with mediocrity, the one who decides, because every man has a moment where he must choose the comfort of conformity or the climb toward greatness. Most bow to the former, few rise to the latter. Which will you be, the man who watches, or the man who builds, the man who hesitates, or the man who commands, the man who waits for wealth, or the man who becomes it? Because make no mistake, wealth is a mirror. It reflects your thoughts, your habits, your standards. Raise them, and the reflection changes. Lower them, and the reflection fades. You cannot out-earn your mindset. You cannot outperform your identity. You cannot receive what you secretly resent. So bless wealth, love it, respect it, study it, live in the frequency of it, not out of greed but growth, not out of vanity but vision. Because the greatest gift you can give the world is not your poverty, it's your power, not your doubt but your demonstration. Show the world what belief looks like in motion, what conviction looks like in action, what purpose looks like when it's no longer theory but embodied truth. And when you fall, because every great builder does rise with more precision, fall with intention, use the failure, transform the loss. That's how the wealthy move. They are alchemists turning setbacks into strategy, delays into discipline, pain into power. This is your path now. Think wealth, every thought a blueprint, every belief a brick. Act wealth, every move made in alignment with vision. Live wealth, not just in results but in ritual, in posture, in presence. Because when you no longer just want wealth, when you walk as wealth, speak as wealth, serve as wealth, the world cannot help but bend.